Good morning. I am late. My apologies. I was here. I just got distracted by the Twitter. All right, guys. You know the drill. Let's get. My UI is wonky. Oh yeah, look at that. This has to be this. This has to go here like this, and this has to go. No, that's not the one I want. Hey, voila. All right, let's see what's going on here. Show short strategy yesterday. Need to enter these announcements. I know I still have a position. If you guys ever want to see, I think that's the command. I may be wrong. Is it this one? There it is. You can head over to TipRanks and check that out, and it will give you a breakdown of what my current holdings are. Yeah, I did take profit on it, and then I re-entered when it dropped back down. And so for me, it looks like it's got another opportunity to go. I think into its earnings, which are on sometime in August, early August. I think it's really going to spike up. They've had some large multi-million dollar orders. Their revenue estimate is 2.6 million and 500 unit order here. Another purchase order here. So let's just get a feel for, well, maybe their press releases break down what the value of the, it doesn't. Let's see if we can get prices on this stuff. Yeah, mid-August is what they're projecting. Um, mm, there's no easy way to get a cost on these. Okay, so it's got the DM 500 for $4,200. But that's not even the one that the police are buying here. That's a lower model. So it's probably about 8 to 10 grand. Yeah, this is the one with the city. This is the one with Danville. So 26 of those. This is probably 100 grand, $150,000 worth of stuff. No, if this is 8 grand a pop, 8 by 16 plus 26 plus 23. 12.1 million. Do you have a link for that? I don't see a number on this. Not Danville, the government contract. Hmm. Okay, so this is yesterday. They got a massive order. This is the 8th. I don't see one on the 16th. Perfect. Thank you. Wow, this one slid under the radar. I haven't heard about this one at all. That's huge. Oh, okay. Cool. So yeah, given that their projection on earnings is 2 point something million, 2.6 million, I think they far exceeded that in orders already for this quarter. So I think they're going to absolutely destroy earnings. Now, I don't have a massive position in it. Oh, it's before 6. I probably can't open my holdings. Yeah, I can't. I can go to tip ranks though. Yeah, look at that. I'm up 2.5. 2.5 stars. I'm rising from that half star. Portfolio details. Doesn't give sizing. Oh, DGLY is not listed here. I definitely have some DGLY. Okay, how bad do I want it? It's got to show in my holdings, right? No, because I don't have it here. Frank. I think it's something small. I think it's like 100 shares I've got now. TD. Yeah, can't even see it. It's a really unfortunate time that they do that. I wish they would do that at night at like 7 or 8 when nobody's trading instead of first thing in the morning when the market opens. Like you're doing work from 4 to 6, but that's pre-market. I think it's 100 shares. All right, I'm gonna finish updating this short strategy here. But yeah, I definitely still like them. I think they've got a lot of potential. It doesn't. No, it doesn't directly correlate with their prices. So that's something I have to be aware of, actually, Joe, when I trade, because my platform here. I'll show you. My platform, when I go to place an order or I search for a ticker, let's search. Okay, this is one I know. So you'll see here that there's two different listings for Westport, the Canadian and the US. The Canadian one right now is pricing itself at $1.78. That's Canadian. The US one is pricing itself at $1.32. Now, while the two may be comparable as far as price, they're listed on. Yeah, exactly. But also, you have to take into account the price movement on them. If you look at this chart versus this chart, you'll notice the two charts are not identical. And that's because the amount of volume on the exchange changes the price movement. Yeah, I'm with you, BC, on more contracts. Well, on more equities. The more contracts they sign are better because as they get those agreements with cities, as they get those agreements with the government, they make themselves a staple moving forward, which makes it not a $6 stock but a $60 stock. It's definitely one that I'm going to be looking to get more into, but I've got a lot of plays on the go here, so I'm not gonna invest any more capital in them until I get my hands out of some plays here. There's a lot of positions to be in at once. These two don't really count, but I'm with DGLY. I'm up to 10 positions. I should just put this in here. For me, 10 is a lot because these plays are not lock them and leave them, right? These plays are actually watch them for price movement, take an exit. But yeah, Joe, the price movement on a stock is independent to the exchange. So how a stock is performing. So Nintendo in Japan is going to perform differently than Nintendo here, where it's an OTC. For me, 10 is a lot. Yeah, if I had a divvy portfolio, I don't think that. Yeah, I think 20 would be a reasonable amount. With a divvy portfolio, it doesn't really matter. I suppose it's just they're in there. You know what I mean? So MFA is one of those for me. I do have one divvy stock in there, and that's MFA. This is one that I'm just going to increase my position in over time and hold. But I will build up divvies. Estimated dividends 30% right now. Almost done this data entry here, guys. This is that super unsexy part of the job. So I left some cash on the table with this one. IMRN. Yeah, for me, MFA is just anything under $7 is just buy it and hold it. Um, Left money on the table with this one yesterday too. Our entry was below the low on this. This one here did not work out yesterday. 437. If anyone would have it, it would be Russia. They've been hacking every country out there in order to get the information on what people are doing. I'll believe it when I see it rolled out. All right. Shoot me the article and I'll take a look at it. I'm not sure about that. I don't know about Russia's biopharmaceutical. Russian Ministry of Defense claims to have successfully developed coronavirus vaccine, First Deputy Defense Minister says. First Russian vaccine against coronavirus protection operation in which military. So it's a military one. That they're making the assertion that it's a military discovery. All right, let's get down to it, boys. Let's check out the news. Yeah, it's Google Translate. I've got it set up to automatically translate certain languages. There's certain languages I come across fairly regularly. Russian, French, Spanish. I just have it. German. I have it automatically. Okay, so this did go through for eBay. We'll see. Let's see what the market's looking at like right now. Futures are green. Okay, mid-tech pharma. Interesting. So this is more of a merger than a deal with eBay. Okay, that'll be interesting. Fed nominations from Trump. I mean, this is going to be interesting for sure. It'll be interesting. Okay, so Novartis misses on revenue. More and more guys with these bios that are chasing the COVID. Okay, 11 more companies have been sanctioned by the US. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, I respect every single woman that comes forward with an accusation, but those accusations have to be proven in a court of law. So I'm okay with Fox suspending them until the suspending with pay until the trial comes through, but there needs to be a trial by jury, not a trial by press. A trial by journalism is never going to be a fair trial, um, and that's a huge problem. Tech continues to beat and be strong. Okay, so OPK picks up the NFL contract for contact testing. That's a big deal. Man, look at that thing go. Free market's already up. Um, yeah, yeah, and in many cases, when these things come to a jury, they're thrown out. Now it's such a it definitely has to be a line that you draw. I'm not saying don't do anything. I think a suspension is warranted when an accusation like that's leveled against somebody in a position of authority in a business. I think that's completely warranted. There's a suspension, but the suspension has to be with pay. You can't take away somebody's livelihood or expect a lawsuit on the back end. I mean, that's what the company's decision is. If you move forward with this, and let's say Tucker Carlson, because he was named in that, or Hannity, right? Let's say that you take their position from them. They go to court. Court says, nope, didn't happen. Didn't happen. We rule in favor of the defendant, not the plaintiff. Didn't happen. Fox opens themselves up to massive litigation, massive lawsuits, and they wrongful dismissal. Unless their corporate policy is we just fire anybody that anybody levels an accusation against. But then that gets really messy because as soon as you want a promotion, all you have to do is make an accusation against somebody over top of you, and it's a done deal. You know that they're going to get fired. Journalism is a pretty cutthroat business. I mean, remember this one? So here was a claim that came out, but again, it was a matter of so there's another one here, but these two made a claim, and had you immediately fired Biden from the card, okay, well, no, you can't be president because of this. Um, yeah. All right. Congressional panel questions. YRC 700 million CARES Act loan. So July 1st, they spiked on the news. That's here. From $1.57 to $2.88. So they nearly, well, 3.23. Okay. 3.57 and now 2.60. I'd expect this to fall further. I'd expect this one to fall further, I think. It's just IMRN. Yeah, let's see what's going on in the news. Okay, we got a recovery fund. Is that what this is? That's confirmed. Bloomberg's got an article on that. Uber could lose London. That would be huge. Okay, here we go. Okay, 750 billion stimulus package. This is very interesting. The agreement over the recovery fund is a big deal for the bloc, which will see countries borrow together for the first time. So the issue with that is if everybody is tied in together, borrowing together, then what happens when somebody wants to remove themselves from the EU? Are they required to carry the debt of the borrowing? Are they required? Do they have rights to the assets that purchase? Do they have? If you're going to pool together and everybody pulls from it, do you own a portion of everything? Do you? So if, for example, you've got the 26 member nations or whatever, right? 27. I think there's 28 in the UK left, so 27. But you've got all these member nations that are going to borrow at the same time. So you're all drawing from this fund, and that fund is also purchasing all of these assets, whether it's roads or infrastructure or whatever, right? Well, let's say you're France and you decide that you want to leave the union. They're going to say, well, you owe us the debt on these loans. Your portion, your 27th of this debt. Okay, great. Does that mean they also own a 27th of whatever it was spent on? Like, do they own a portion of Spain's infrastructure now? Do they own a portion of the Netherlands' infrastructure now? Because those funds were spent there and they're required to pay the interest on them. So they should, of course, be entitled to some portion of them. This just muddies the waters. This does not, I mean, it's a bloody band-aid. So a double dose is not good news. Nope, we knew that yesterday. Yeah, no, we knew that one yesterday. Um, so a two dose is a huge issue because first of all you need to manufacture double the dosage, right? But at the same time, um, the results on it are not so phenomenal. So it'd be a double dose every 9 months is what they're saying is when the antibodies seem to disappear. So every 9 months you're going to need to go get a double dose of this. Like, okay, so this is a very telling statement. We're very encouraged. While the test doesn't prove the vaccine will work, I think we're a bit more confident it should work this week than last week. That's not what you want to be hearing about the leader, um, at all. That's bad news. Okay, let's go here. Q4 claims that we need another trillion at least in stimulus funding. This would make sense. Yowza. They want to quadruple the stimulus checks, the Democrats. Um, McConnell's saying he wants to bring the qualification down to those who earn less than 40,000 a year. So the Heroes Act is a joke. That $3 trillion bill is an absolute joke. Um, it should never see the light of day. I don't know that it's a bad idea. I don't know that I'm opposed to that threshold, that 40,000 a year threshold. That if you're earning $40,000 a year on your last tax, I don't know that that's a bad idea. Suffice it to say, if the Democrats, yeah, and I again, like, we keep coming back to that chart of there are states where people just want to stay unemployed. Their unemployment is paying them more than their job was. Kanye is officially out. And that's a reality. That is what it is. And that's the doing of the individual states that they've made that happen. There were states that increased the amount of unemployment that people could receive through this, to their detriment, because now they can't get people off of it. They're hooked. Why is IMRN up another 100%? IMRN. No news until earnings. I think earnings, you're going to get a ton of information from ACRX. Next week. It's looking like next week we're going to get their earnings, and that earnings is going to go very well. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it. All right, guys, I'm just going to go refill my water. I will be right back. All right. U.S. and London are talking. I mean, I don't understand what else she wants to have happen in the city. Chicago has the strictest gun laws in the U.S., and yet they still have the highest gun crime in the U.S. So I don't know why she thinks that more gun laws are going to resolve this issue. Secret federal agents deployed to Chicago. Yeah, that's what she's talking about. What's interesting is that, and I mean, this argument is one that I have a huge problem with, where she's saying, just create new laws for people who have illegal weapons to follow. And it's like, I just feel like there's a logic disconnect on that of. So let me get this straight. You want the executive branch to create new laws, new legislation that says that people can't own guns illegally. Yeah. Okay. So these are people that already own guns illegally and break the law regularly because you're citing gun crime. Yes. These are people who regularly break the law. Okay. So we're talking people that shoot people. So people that commit either aggravated assault or murder. We're talking people that are peddling drugs. We're talking people that commit robbery. Those people, yes, that's who we're talking about. And you expect a new law is going to be something that they're going to follow versus the old laws that they already choose not to follow? How does that help me understand why this new law? Oh, we'll follow that one. People are liking what they're seeing in earnings, though. Spy 325. I'm not seeing Coke's earnings yet. $8:30 a.m. is their earnings call. I don't see their Q2 here. No, it's not up yet. Okay, so you're told when you cough, you're supposed to cough where? Not into your hands, but into your elbow, right? This is how you were told to cough. Okay, so let's make that the point of contact. Do I ever use sites similar to the blood map? Occasionally I'll go into World Tracker just to get an understanding of where we're seeing the virus progress, the rate of growth. Now, what's worth noting here, guys, is so you'll see we hit a bit of a plateau here, but this is when we started testing actively, right? Now that we're testing actively, we've seen a spike back up. I would surmise that this is where we've been all along, because we're starting to see the valleys return to this 200,000 point. Yes, there was a peak, but I would suspect that we see this bounce this 250 to 200K. Deaths have hit that plateau. Slight increase, but so the US alone did 1 million tests yesterday. Almost 1 million tests. No other country comes close to that. So Brazil's number 2 for outbreaks. They announced no new tests yesterday. India announced 300,000 new tests. Russia, 300,000 new tests. The US did 1 million new tests yesterday. It's like, okay, so on 300,000 tests, you saw 36,000 new cases. What if you had done 1 million tests? What if you had done triple the tests? Would we see triple that number? Would we see 90,000 show up here? Like, I know people hate it when Trump says, well, it's because we're testing so much that we have so many cases showing up. But it's a bit of a reality. Oh, yeah. No, I don't really use tools like this because these events, for the most part, aren't. That was kind of interesting. Interesting. It's good for war plays. Oh, I could see that. If I could, I mean, as long as there are sources, there are sources here for the most part, but Oregon gets its own. It's amazing what goes on that you don't hear about. Airplane lands in the middle of the street because it loses power. Like, why didn't I hear about that? What's this? Got a big red one here. 2.2 earthquake in Oklahoma. Well, it's just a map of news events. There are a lot of maps out there that do something similar. Let's do a cruise check here, ladies and gentlemen. $60 a night. $35 a night from Jacksonville. I think Coke is gonna beat on earnings. Um, for those that consume Coke, I imagine they've been consuming Coke en masse when they've been locked into their house. I think Coke is doing quite well. Now, maybe I need to temper that because the issue is we also have Coca-Cola with a lot of their money comes from restaurants, retail. Yeah, the issue with Coke is commercial sales. Yeah, exactly. Now that being said, the restaurants didn't shut down entirely. The companies like McDonald's, Burger King. Well, Burger King's Pepsi, but big players like McDonald's, those stores that sell that, they're still up and running. Um, what are the estimates on Coke? Okay, so this makes a beat really. This is what we have to be aware of, guys. This is the target that they're aiming for, right? So when we're saying do they beat or do they miss, are we saying that they were profitable? No, that's not necessarily what we're saying. So the estimates that they have to meet, okay, is earnings per share down 35%. Do I think that the revenue estimate is down 27.4%? So do I think that Coke was hurt more than 27% or less than 27% on this? Yeah, I would agree. So where you're ordering your food, you may not necessarily be getting drinks with that, but I'm pretty sure you went out to Costco and grabbed yourselves a massive pile of Coca-Cola, right? If you're a Coke drinker. Um, I don't know that they got hurt worse than a quarter of their business. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that they see worse than 27%. They've had no upward revisions, 16 downward revisions. I think they beat. I think Coke beats. Yep. Yeah. And I think there's lots of people out there. There's lots of people out there that did the same thing. You buy them, you take them, they're yours, you're done. Like, there they are. I think they beat. Another bank beats. Oh, this is interesting. Company is buying. We get an okay. Okay. We get an announcement from the EU that the stimulus check is coming. And what do we see? Stimulus check is coming, ladies and gentlemen. The bailout from the EU is coming. And what's the first thing we see? Share buyback. And I get it. They've got the money. They want to bring value back into the stock. They want to make it appealing for investors. I do get the play. But there's going to be a lot of people super pissed off that the first thing that you do with that money from the government is buy back shares. Okay, new FDA approval. Just going through this news feed here, guys, and seeing what news is popping. Starbucks expands China order services to 4 Alibaba apps. That's a big deal. Oh, this is interesting. New plans won't be needed for years. So Boeing's got 800 planes grounded. American Airlines is looking to cancel orders of the planes. This is looking like a solid short building here. With rumors that American Airlines is going to cancel its orders for the 737 MAX planes, that's a big deal. Go figure, Buffett was right. Yeah. Zoom expands. Stock ratings. Tel upgraded to a buy. LRCX a buy. Dropbox a buy. I actually want to see TRVN. So somebody brought this to my attention that TRVN is often seen as the what happened here? Is often seen as the direct competitor to ACRX. And I'm interested to see. So Credit Suisse doesn't actually have Credit Suisse Holdings. Does Credit Suisse own TRVN stock? Good morning, Ron. 1600 PT. Where did you see that on Boeing? Somebody's got this at a 277 high. Seaport Global. Really? Hmm. I'm gonna disagree with him on this. Oh, that was Credit Suisse. Healthcare's leading on strong buys. So interesting. These strong buys. Let's go by the upside. I wonder if you took the top 10 highest upside stocks and held them for 12 months. I wonder. Stock name, mm, date, ticker, entry, sizing, exit, profit. Okay, so let's say today is the day that we're going to enter all of these. Tickers. I'm just going to move this off screen here so I can do it faster. Oh, you're from Ottawa. You're right in my area, Ron. Yeah, some healthcare stocks have. I definitely don't trade the TSX. There's just not enough movement in the TSX for me. Most big Canadian healthcare companies do have a US equivalent though, so I'm not really. I do have a play, but it's currently halted. East West Biosciences. But other than that, my COVID plays are outside of Canada. But there's definitely movement in that sector. Okay, so GNCA, CRBP, SNCR, PRBB, MUX, ARI, VRCA, UGTC, ETAI, ETRA. It's great that it works. I'm just wondering how well it works. And I kind of want to track that, even if it's just for a quarter. One of the interesting things with these stocks that have, I mean, this is the exception as soon as I say that, right? With these stocks that have this high evaluation to the upside, um, so let's say a grand in each, right? Uh, as with all of these different strategies that I'm putting together, guys, I want to make them as simple as possible. So FDA approval comes in, entry, exit. Earnings comes in and they beat on revenue and EPS and they're inside of a certain price range. How does it perform, right? Stock gets an upgrade. How does it perform? Invest in rental properties, Spotify, live stream. Spotify is a great place to be. Live stream, tech companies. Yep. Tech is a big sector. There's a lot of people calling for the uh, oh shoot, I didn't put these in. So this is from yesterday. I need to check DBX. The open was 2165. The close was 2289. The high was 2294. Average gain on time. Control C, Control V. Okay, and then SILC. Open was 3909. Close was 3904. High of the day was 3945. I mean, this isn't bad. If you get to take a 92% win rate and a 3% gain daily on your position, right? So long as you had volume. I have no idea. Donuts you can buy in a can? Yeah, that's assuming $1,000 per position. Actually, it depends on the weighted shares is a bankroll 5,000. This one is assuming a $5,000. All right, yeah, 5 grand per position. Oh, these marts, I have never heard of that. We had an FDA approval today, didn't we? Where was it? This one? Yeah, Karenetics. Karenetics. Stock. No stock. Oh, these articles. Same recycled financials over and over and over again. Every single, like, okay, so DMPI has a call on the 23rd. Yeah, I've never heard of it. DMPI has a call on the 23rd in regards to this merger. I know that I just received a massive book. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'll grab it. So they sent me a small phone book to read on this potential merger. Do they want me to vote on this? Looks like they want me to vote on this. Hmm. I mean, this is going to be a long read for sure. It's a big boy, but I think that there's actually going to be they're taking it seriously. That's a big read, but they're taking it fairly seriously here. Okay, this one right here. So here's the one pot stock that I do get behind just because it's solely based in medical. And it beat. Its revenue beat. Its EPS missed, but its revenue beat. Let's take a look at some of the other bad boys out there and see how they did on their earnings. ACB beat on its last ones too. 55 million is what they're expecting on this one, on their next one. Coke is going to be a big one today. This is hilarious. So, every branch of government, all the way from federal down to municipal, is saying, just give us the money. We know how to do it best. Give us the money, and we'll tell you how to do it. And the reality is, every branch of this government has boned it up entirely. Um, from the federal level saying, "Oh well, we'll just manage your money for you." Well, that didn't work. The state saying, "Oh well, just give it to us. We know how to best deploy it in the states." That didn't work either. Federally, the biggest states see the most funding. They put the money where the most people are, and that's it. And the people that don't have a lot of people, like Alaska, good luck. Best of luck to you. Do what you can with it. Um, the same thing happened at the state level, where the state level went, well, we know how to best put the money out there, right? We know how to best get that money out to people. And it's like, what in the world made you think that this is going to work at a municipal level, where the municipal level is going, well, we know our cities, we know where the money needs to go best, and then they tuck it away into pet projects or paying off debts that they've incurred for bad decisions in the past. Meanwhile, the people that actually need the money aren't seeing it. I'm a huge fan of that argument for just get the money to the people. Let the people decide for themselves how they will spend the money. If they want to fix their houses, they fix their houses. They need to pay off their bills, they pay off their bills. They want to um, they want to spend frivolously. They can spend frivolously. Okay. Let's just get rid of that. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. I'm not sure. Air Canada? Yesterday, it looks like. ACC. They beat on EPS. They missed on revenue. Come on, Coke. This is good to see for the real estate sector. I mean, definitely has room to the downside. Fell to 20. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Phase two is something we've been discussing for a long time, and I still see phase two, a second wave. Sorry, the second wave of Corona hitting in the fall. Flu is gonna hit. We're gonna get the flu season that we're not prepared for, paired with COVID. Hopefully, we don't get a new strain of COVID on top of the one we already have. But the fall is not going to be kind. Right. And US colleges are available online, and I think many people are still just going to consider using the online, but that doesn't do anything for the campus communities for sure. Yeah, I don't see anybody rushing back like, ooh, let's get there. Let's get there. Let's get back into the campus. Let's get back to the school. That younger generation likes it anyway, right? They'd rather do it online from home than having to commute into a classroom somewhere. Yeah, 15K on top of your excuse me, your tuition that's already 10K, right? Like it's nutty. It's absolutely nutty that that's what they expect people to be spending. Baffles me. For what? For what? 33K a year? What are you taking, Aiden, if you don't mind me asking? BBA in finance. Okay, so with that finance degree, what are you looking to do? Like, do you want to work at a bank? Do you want to work at a hedge fund? Like, what is the application of the finance degree? You want to work in banking. Okay. That's crazy, man. Oh, Robinhood scraps their UK launch amid mounting scrutiny of their trading platform. That's crazy, man. Post secondary is always one I find very interesting. So I left high school grade 10. Uh, as an adult, I went back for a single semester online. I guess I was, man, how long ago was that? 5 years ago. But I went to a single semester and I realized very quickly there was nothing that I could gain by being in that program. So an MBA or an advertising or a marketing or a business leadership program, none of those programs offered any value. After being in the industry for over a decade, most of what they were teaching was outdated, irrelevant, or wrong. And I realized very quickly that I could actually be teaching the classes I was taking. And that was a huge indicator to me that I got paid over those 10 years to learn the industry as opposed to paying somebody these egregious fees. Now, there are exceptions. If you do want to work in the banking industry, they're going to require a degree. At least for now, they're going to require a degree. Um, I don't know that the caliber of school really makes a difference for me, but yeah, it my singular issue with this is academia begets academia, right? So academics just make more little academics, and so what happens is you've got a professor who has been in the academic world his entire life. It's not real world application. He's been taught to teach. So you go to university, you get your bachelor's, you get your master's, then you get your PhD. Once you got your PhD, then you start to teach. You get your teacher's license. Bam! You've been in school your entire life. You never actually practically applied the things that you learned. Instead, you're just, bam, here you go. And you've written massive feats of texts and ideas and thoughts that hypothetically and theoretically would work in the real world. But the reality is, practical application of those thoughts and ideas often falls short because they have no real world testing. And I mean, that's fantastic. You've got a program that has professionals like that. There are certain schools, the Chicago, what is it, the Booth School of Business. They often have that as a criteria is that if you want to teach here, you have to have done it in the industry. You can't just have a credential on a piece of paper. But for the most part, academia begets academia. You've got teachers who were taught by teachers who were taught by teachers who were taught by teachers. And now you've got this massive disconnect between what you're learning in the classroom and what's actually being done in the real world. This is why major companies like Microsoft are just skipping college applicants altogether. They're just telling people come to us before college. We'll just train you internally. You'll learn everything you need to learn. Just come directly to Microsoft. You'll get your university degree. You'll get paid to do it here at Microsoft. Working with industry and working in industry are two different things. Working alongside a business and actually working in the business are two completely different things. If I see a prof telling me, well, this is how marketing works, they've never held a marketing position inside of a company, a CMO position or director of marketing position, I'm going to call their bluff. So that's kind of cool, Aiden. I like that idea of a school that actually has profs that had experience at that executive level. That's huge. That education's more than worth it. Um, what do you think of the proposal of the Canadian government allowing the public to invest into companies? Have you heard anything on that? No, because that's what we can already do through the stock exchange. I'm confused what you mean by that. Um, Honestly, when it comes to the Canadian economy, Canadian finances, Canadian exchanges, unless they're killing it on the Nasdaq or the U.S. markets, I don't hear about them. I don't trade the Canadian markets at all. Um, Now, occasionally on my trading desktop, I will enter a ticker, and they will have a TSX version of their stock, and I just won't realize it until I'll enter a position, and that'll be the holding that I have is a TSX holding. I've got that with Westport and East West Biosciences, but the volume is non-existent. The volume is non-existent in Canada comparatively. Um, so here, I'll show you guys. I'll show you an example, okay? So Westport, okay? So Westport down here, guys, you can see them. So I currently have Canadian holdings in Westport, but there's a US ticker as well. I meant to get the US ticker. I did not. I got the Canadian one. You'll notice the price is the same, but the volume, look at this. Look at the volume difference. Average volume 980,000, 80,000 in Canada. 440,000 in the US, 19,000 yesterday in Canada. The volume is so small. Yeah, I would never do options in Canada. Never. No. I mean, Shopify is like half of our market. It's too small. The market's too small. I guess I could get rid of this. You guys don't need to see that, right? Howdy, Fordley. This is interesting. So they're making the assertion that the UK, they're making the assertion that the UK has Russian elites that are in the UK that are directly financing influence over political and charitable organizations. Oh, I have no idea, Aiden. I have absolutely no idea what that number is. Apparently there's a study, Security Committee has warned, so there was a massive study that was done. Report produced by cross-party committee over the course of 18 months considered material from the UK's intelligence services as well as evidence from independent experts. Hmm. Hmm. But the reality is, like, I don't understand how they feel they can actually stop this because they're private citizens, right? They're private citizens. What are you going to do? Say that if you are from Russian heritage, you can't make a donation to a charity or you can't make a donation to a political party? Like, what are you going to do with that? Putin says, okay, well, you guys are my buddies and I want you to support this person financially in the upcoming election. So what? They're private citizens. It's their money. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. If they decide that they want to listen to Putin and give it to Boris Johnson, well, what are you going to do about that? And if you start with just Russians, well, people from Russian descent, okay, no problem. So they just find another country, Ukraine, Belarus, uh, the Chinese. Like, you think that this is just the Russians doing this? Check the financial records across every electoral ballot everywhere in the world. There's going to be some kind of influence from external governments. It's lunacy to think that you can regulate the flow of finance from the free market is lunacy. To think that you can tell a private citizen because you came from Russia, you can't give money to this or this or this or this because at one time you sat down and had a beer with Putin. Like, good luck. Good luck. Unless you can prove that Putin is providing them the funds, if you can show that the Russian government itself is giving them the money to put into the election, okay, well, there's something. There's something you can work with. But in a grand scheme of things, there's not a whole hell of a lot that you can do on this. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Last I checked, there was no Russians inside the voting polls with a gun to Americans' heads saying, vote this way. Didn't exist. Every American that voted in the past election had to go into that booth and make its own decision. Make their own decision. They made their decision. After the fact, you can't go, well, it's because of Russians' collusions with their ads. Nobody makes a grown adult make a decision. Nobody. You made that decision. You voted who you voted. That's how that works. Well, they shouldn't be allowed to have a say because it's not their government. Okay, but the U.S. has an opinion on every country in the world. So, I mean, we're going to call that even? Or U.S. is going to stop providing an opinion on global governments? Because right now they've got a lot to say about China, Hong Kong. UK suspend Hong Kong extradition treaty. Yikes. This is China putting themselves in a really bad place, or UK putting themselves in a really bad place. China was their shield against the EU. What's up, Brad? All right, 60 seconds. I'll be back, guys. Okay. Come on, Coke. I want to see what you did. Oh, that's cool. So Feeder is a tool that I use, guys, to give me updates on search results, all kinds of stuff. But apparently, I can go into their SEC filings and just have this here and open so that when Coke gets its earnings or they file their earnings with the SEC, I get notified immediately. With 16 downward revisions, I think they beat. A full Guy Fieri beard cut. I was actually just considering cutting the whole damn thing off. Well, CYDY is way up. Holy cow, what the heck is going on? Yeah. We'll see what this does today, because if that continues to run, I might just look for an exit. I didn't expect it to move so damn quick. Or do I just hold for the NASDAQ listing in a few weeks? IMRN is up again, 100%. Meditech Pharma, huh? It might be. Cyberdyne. Cyberdyne is Terminator. Close though. Good news, guys. My StockTwits account was reinstated. So for those of you that are following me over on StockTwits, the suspension was lifted in less than a day. Not sure how they gauge that as a necessary suspension, but there it is. I would go in on Tesla over. Where's Waiter? Set an alarm in 2 weeks to look at side eye. Okay. Uh, Schedule a reminder for 2 weeks from now to look at side eye. What's the reminder? Check out side-eye. Yeah. I saw that IMRN popping 100%. And if you look at the chart on IMRN, it was already nutty. So this one here. So let's go the big sheet. IMRN. Okay. So June 7th, massive pop, slow decline. This is yesterday. It popped up to 1982, fell all the way to $10. Yeah, this one from a year ago of like, oh, it'll be at $4. Even this guy, this guy who downgraded this 9 months ago to $1, like, good call, Mark Mahaney. Good call. Downgraded again yesterday. Like, look at this. Reiterated a buy, but downgrade, hold. Like, okay, you guys might want to update your list on this. Yep. 15 days ago, 6.5, and then this guy shows up from Deutsche Bank, the douche bank, and says 380. They're the only profitable. Now, what I do guarantee, like, let's go in here. I bet you he's got a rating on Uber. Grubhub, hold. Yeah, he liked Grubhub. He sure did. He had a $62 price tag on Grubhub. He likes Grubhub. Like, come on. This guy here got his Grubhub shares turned into Uber shares, and he's just not listed as holding Uber because he hasn't done an evaluation on Uber. But he sees a downside on Waiter, where Grubhub is really solid. Oh, he sees a downside of 17% on Waiter, which is the only profitable company in this sector. But Grubhub was a hold, even though it hasn't been profitable in a year. Come on, get out of here with that crap, douchebag. Nearly a quarter of New Delhi have had the virus. Well, guys, I had hoped that Coke's earnings would be in before I signed off today. Oh, and there they are. Net revenues declined 28%. So they missed. It's a miss. This should be coming through the wire here. So non-GAAP declined 26%, GAAP 28%, operating income declined 34%, EPS declined to 41. So let's see what Coke had here. Earnings. Okay, so their projection was 41. So they didn't beat, they meet on 41, and their revenue estimate was 7.26 billion. Their actual was I wonder what they're going to claim, GAAP or non-GAAP. If you take GAAP, their revenue missed. If you take non-GAAP, they hit. I'm going to be very interested to see how this is announced. Beats by 1, misses on revenue is how it's being announced. They missed by 60 million. Their operation costs were more. Interesting. Well, guys, there it is. We got it right at the end there, but we got it in. Koku's usually a solid rock. Falls short. Pretty exciting stuff. Well, the stock's probably up pre-market on that news, though. That it wasn't that far off. Yeah. All right, guys. I will be back tomorrow morning, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not following, subscribed, all that, yada, 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 yada. Just do that if this brings some value to you. Hanging out in the morning, breaking things down, looking at news, doing some analysis, building out some strategies. If that's for you, great. I'd love to have you here. If it's not for you, cheers. Either way, I will see you guys tomorrow, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then. Later.